Now, STN came down to New York City the day after the tragedy happened back in 2001. And this week, STN Channel 2 News reporter Reyna Boucaud caught up with the crew who came down to New York on that tragic week.
Tom and Amanda were sophomores at the university and vividly remember the events of the tragedy. Although their appearance is different, this is the path that Tom followed when he first heard of the 9/11 incident.
I was walking into Gengris, going up through the mailroom, and the little 13-inch TV monitor hanging off of the wall, I was watching live as the second plane hit. And that is burned into my memory. I can't get that out of my memory, that I saw that happen live. And just nobody could believe it.
Tom and Amanda were privileged to be allowed to cover the story and were the only student reporters in New York City at that time.
The fact that the university and STN let us do this and gave us that opportunity, I mean, that's amazing. We were in there with real journalists, and that's an experience that you can't get at any school. I mean, we didn't meet any other college students.
Although disturbed from the events, getting news out to campus was a priority. Emotions aside, they reported on the fresh and troubling subject.
We have been bringing you coverage of today's events as well as information that has rocked the country as well as...
Because, we thought about all the students that are from New York or, know New Yorkers, and they're at school. They might not have cars, they can't go home, and they wanted to know what was going on. And so one student communicating that to another firsthand from the site we thought was really, really valuable.
The 9/11 incident was not confined to the United States. It affected many across the world.
It's a small world, and so many people were affected by the tragedy. I think that I haven't talked to more than a few people who don't know of someone who was directly affected by 9/11.
New York City, 3 days after the incident, was still in mourning and trying to recuperate and rebuild. Still in aftershocks of the crash, New York was at a standstill.
Yes, it stopped. It was desolate. It was like the end of the world there. I mean, nobody was around. There's no power anywhere. It was just dirty. Things were everywhere in the street. And it was just, the smell was so strong and ingrained in our minds. It's just nothing we've ever seen before, because you think of New York City, especially Wall Street, and you think of hustle and bustle